It's good to see you. Welcome to July. We made it. It is the middle of the week, but it's the first day of the month. And it's also the halfway point of the year because this was a leap year. After we're done with today, it's 183 days in the books and 183 days to go in the year 2020. And a happy Canada Day to our friends up north. In fact, Canada is celebrating Canada Day by bringing a bunch of cold air down to us. This is what we're dealing with today, that large low pressure system. It's just ginormous. It's like taking up half of the continental United States. It's just crazy. We're at the very edge of that. We're in for a cool start today, cool start to the month. Unseasonably cool, as a matter of fact, and yeah, another day of wind. Sorry, a lot of people are tired of the wind. It's only 55 degrees outside. It's going to be a cool start to the month of July, but things are going to start changing. We're going to warm up for the holiday weekend. Temperatures in the 80s. It's a forecast I think you're going to like if you have outdoor plans for our nation's birthday. We'll talk about that when we get to the weather forecast. We have a lot of news to get to, and not surprisingly, in the world of sports, our top story. This was something that we saw coming down the pike a couple of weeks ago. There will be no Apple Sox baseball this year. They were hoping to have some sort of camp or some sort of organized sandlot kind of games at Paul Thomas Senior Field with some of the local talent and some of the Apple Sox players that were committed to play here in the big city this year. They put the whole thing to bed. Not going to happen. Talk about that when we get to sports. And of course, we have everything else. A brand new opinion from Mike Mignotti, the obscure holiday. We got today in history, some celebrity birthdays to get to. And at the back half of the program, a conversation with Captain Edgar Reinfeld, the Administrative Bureau Commander for the Wenatchee Police Department. We're talking all things Independence Day from a law enforcement perspective, specifically how they're going to enforce you can't go to Walla Walla Point Park on Saturday night to enjoy the fireworks. There's usually thousands and thousands of people gathered with a beer garden and live entertainment and all kinds of cool stuff going on. None of that's going to happen this year at Walla Walla Point Park for obvious reasons. We'll talk to Captain Reinfeld about that. In the back half of the program, just about 3 minutes after the hour, it's cool, partly cloudy and 55 degrees. Let's take our tour around the valley. You can see the clouds. And I was looking this morning at the national climate maps about just how big this upper level low pressure system that's positioned over us. And it's huge, it's absolutely huge, which is why we have such cool weather and breezy weather. Now again, the holiday weekend still looks pretty darn nice. What we got to get there first, we're going to have one more day of windy conditions. That's today. It tapers off tomorrow. Things are looking good for the weekend. Can't wait to give you the forecast. But unfortunately, we're going to have one more day of breezy conditions. It's been a very windy spring and early summer. Good morning, Wenatchee. Good morning, East Wenatchee. Good morning, Sunny Slope. Good morning, Badger Mountain. Good morning, Birch Mountain. Good morning, well, everyone. There we go. Good to see you. At this point forward, of course, I don't know. Megan, well, that's a no-brainer because that's Steve and Lynette Hare's summer home. You see there in your shot. That, of course, is from Monument Hill out there in Quincy. Beautiful view there. If you haven't been out to the Clockenridge Golf Course in Quincy, I highly recommend it. They're good folks there. They take care of you. If you prefer walking when you play your golf, it's a very walkable golf course. They keep very good care of it. It's run by the Port of Quincy, and they do a really good job. They've really taken care of that good golf course out there. So make a point to head on out and see our friends at Clockenridge. And it's very, very affordable, too. Golf can be an expensive habit, I know. I've spent many, many dollars on many, many golf courses. I just wish I could play better. Good morning, Quincy. Good to have you. Camera 3. Megan wants to take a look at That's Orlando, Florida. That's the Root Canyon camera. We haven't used that one in so long. I took a wild guess. I don't think there's that many evergreen trees and mountains in Orlando. I've been to Orlando, and I'm pretty sure that's not it. Good morning to our friends up at Root Canyon. By the way, I know a couple of people who live up at Root Canyon. They're actually very nice. They just happen to live in Root Canyon. It's a dichotomy I can't wrap my head around. And camera number 4. Hello to, that looks to be maybe the Tumwater camera. Hey, well, Dan finally got one right anyway. Good morning to Leavenworth. Kind of a bummer that Oktoberfest is not going to be happening this year. Understandable reasons, of course. That's a lot of people crammed into a very small hunk of real estate. drinking beer and eating bratwurst and having a good time. It's one of the biggest events in Leavenworth, and this is a town that has a lot of big events. Unfortunately, there will be no Oktoberfest the first 3 weekends in October, but it's always good to see our friends in Leavenworth, and I believe that camera is pointed to the east towards the Wenatchee Valley. Hi, Leavenworth. Thanks for joining us. All right, so we have a number of slides to show for you today from the National Weather Service. Again, still breezy. We can't seem to shake out of the wind. It actually, you could probably even call it windy if you want. Not quite as windy as yesterday. Yesterday, by the way, we had our highest wind speed as measured up at Pangbourne. Now keep in mind, this is where all the equipment is at Pangbourne. Pangbourne's a little more susceptible to the wind. Yesterday, our highest wind speed was 38 miles an hour. We had a gust at 47 miles an hour. So not quite as windy today for the Wenatchee Valley, but still breezy for most of central Washington and also southeast Washington. So obviously any kind of grass fires could really spread. And if you're going to go out and do a little fishing or heading out to the water, especially on lakes, you could be buffered it around a little bit with some whitecaps on the lakes because it's still going to be breezy. Gradients are pretty tight. And a very cool start to the month of July. Take a look at Wenatchee. There you go. This is our forecast high today, our normal high, so it's going to be much cooler than normal. We're not going to have that record cool high temperature. We're not going to get anywhere close to that, but we're still going to have a much cooler start to the month. And some locations in far eastern Washington and northern Idaho, they're going to have the coolest July 1st in over a century. So there's some of the statistics for the forecast high temperature for July 1st compared to normal. It's going to be a cool start, but then we turn right around and we're in for a very nice weekend, just in time for the holiday. It's going to be about as good as you want. We're going to have a lot of sunshine on Friday, Saturday, maybe a couple of passing clouds on Independence Day. Outside of that, we're looking good in a gradual warm-up. And the nice part about the upcoming weekend, no wind. Yeah, no wind at all for the 4th of July weekend. So we're liking that. Nice weekend coming up. We just got to get there. There you go, your holiday weekend forecast. I don't know why there's a rabbit on that graphic. I didn't make it. But anyway, lots of sunshine. Afternoon high temperatures will be in the 80s. It'll be very comfortable about 10 o'clock on Saturday night for the fireworks display at Walla Walla Pine Park. No real problems at all. It's looking really nice with highs in the mid to upper 80s for the Wenatchee Valley. So warm but not hot for Independence Day weekend. Just a few clouds and best of all, no wind. Tired of the wind. Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug. Here comes the van. Boom, there we go. And again, we're looking at a lot of sunshine today. For the most part, still breezy. High of about 76 degrees. Wind about 10 to 15 miles an hour. It's a west wind, by the way. It'll be picking up in intensity to about 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Gusts near 30. So breezy, not quite as windy as we saw yesterday, and it's going to start petering out a little bit. The winds will eventually decrease overnight tonight, 54 for the overnight low. We're going to have a few clouds tonight. You're not going to notice it because the clouds are going to come and they're going to go rather rapidly. While you're sleeping, it's going to cloud up and then dissipate. So again, 54 for the overnight low tonight. And then begins the warming trend. Thursday, lots of sunshine, just a little bit of leftover wind. That's it. High of about 81 degrees, 54 for the overnight low on Thursday night with clear skies. Friday, sunshine, 85. Again, just a few passing clouds for Independence Day, Saturday, our 244th birthday. Sunshine, again, a couple of high clouds could pay us a visit. Outside of that, no complaints at all. High of about 87. Little cool for the overnight low in the 50s. Normally we're in the 60s for the overnight low. We'll do it again on Sunday. Lots of sunshine, about 87 degrees. And we'll stay right about that 87 degree mark on Monday and Tuesday. So once again, once we get past today, which is going to be considerably cooler than normal, and again, windy, we are looking good for the foreseeable future. Sunny and warm, but not hot. I can live with that. 10 minutes after the hour, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we got your Wednesday morning news, and there is a lot of it. It's just 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Doghouse Motorsports just won Best Motorsports Store for the 6th year in a row. Is it the great facility? Is it the fantastic products? Or is it?
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Tabor.
I'm Mike. And I'm Glenn.
Hi, I'm Todd.
I'm Jeff.
And this is the Doghouse Service Team.
Hi, I'm Dee.
And I'm Dwayne.
And I'm Kathy.
Come on in and experience the Doghouse.
Are you in the doghouse?
Dealing with some clouds at 11 minutes after the hour, 57 degrees, mixture of clouds and sun, breezy, high will be in the mid-70s, and then we start warming up, lower 80s tomorrow and mid-80s for the weekend, but lots of sunshine and no wind in the forecast. Here are your Wednesday morning headlines. 5 people were injured and traffic was tied up for nearly 3 hours yesterday afternoon after a 4-vehicle crash on Highway 2. This happened just north of East Wenatchee. According to the Washington State Patrol, at 3:38, a disabled vehicle that was blocking westbound traffic caused the traffic behind it to slow down. A large flatbed truck being driven by 20-year-old Bryce Mallett of Newman Lake failed to slow down in time and rear-ended a Ford Crown Victoria that subsequently struck the car in front of it. The flatbed then crossed into the opposing lane and struck an SUV with 5 occupants head-on. One of the passengers in the SUV, 53-year-old Manuel Leonardo Flores of Mexico, was transferred to Central Washington Hospital before being airlifted to Harborview Medical Center. He's in critical condition. The other 4 occupants were transported to Central Washington Hospital with various injuries. Neither Mallett nor the 6 occupants in the other vehicles were injured. 3 of the 5 injuries in the SUV, 3 of the 5 injured in the SUV, I should say, were not wearing seatbelts. Mallett faces charges of driving too fast for conditions. A 20-year-old woman and a 16-year-old male were arrested after a high-speed chase early Sunday morning that ended with their stolen cars submerged in an irrigation ditch. This happened just outside of Moses Lake. The Grand County Sheriff's Office said it started about 4 a.m. Sunday. That's when deputies responded to a report of a stolen vehicle in George. They soon learned that the suspects had been seen earlier pushing a vehicle that had been stolen in Moses Lake a few hours earlier. The second stolen vehicle was located by Ephrata police about 4:30 in the morning on Dotson Road. In the ensuing chase, speeds reached up to 100 miles an hour before police halted the pursuit. But Grant County deputies soon spotted the stolen vehicle again on Road 5 Northwest, just outside of Moses Lake, and the chase resumed again at speeds of more than 100 miles an hour. The suspects drove through a field at Road 5 Northwest and Division Road North before ending up in the irrigation ditch. Arrested were the unidentified juvenile and Tommy Gonzalez of Moses Lake. Both she and the juvenile face numerous charges, including 2 counts of theft of a motor vehicle, as well as multiple attempts to elude a police vehicle by the way. They were not injured. Chief Administrator Barry Kling departs today as the head of the Chelan Douglas Health District. July 1st, today, his last day on the job, although he'll use accumulated vacation time and comp time through October 31st. A copy of Kling's retirement agreement obtained by NCW Life shows he and the health district also must agree not to disparage each other once he's off the job, and he gives up any right to sue the district over his employment. Kling has managed the district since 2003, but tensions arose between him and the 2 County Board of Health over how to approach the COVID-19 health crisis. Records show he told the board in writing on June 21st of his decision to retire. Now, as of 2017, his salary at the health district was about $94,000 a year. A Shasta man accused of sexually abusing 4 children over the course of 20 years, scheduled to enter a guilty plea. Theron J. Heidemann, who's 54 years old, has been jailed in Chelan County for 3 years since his arrest. He's charged with 14 child rape and sexual abuse felonies, the earliest dating back to 2001. Heidemann was the subject of police and social services investigations for almost 20 years before his arrest in 2017. Attorneys wouldn't comment on details of the plea agreement, but Heidemann is set to go before a Superior Court judge on July 28th. Wildland fire crews quickly encircled and then knocked down a brush fire that broke out Monday evening in the Chatter Creek drainage. The fire, about 9 miles up Icicle Road near Leavenworth, took off at about 5:45 in the evening, but it took just about an hour and a half to contain the fire to less than an acre of ground. No injuries were reported, no structures were damaged. Of course, fire season is here, and just in time for the holiday weekend. The fire hazard level in Chelan County is officially set now to high. County commissioners raised the level yesterday, saying conditions are right for sudden wildfires, and residents must restrict their outdoor burning to attended recreational campfires on their private property. Yard waste and orchard burning has been prohibited since June 1st. Property managed campfires at hosted campgrounds are still allowed. As expected, and like the rest of the country, the latest unemployment numbers are out. The figures for the Wenatchee Valley for the month of May are not good. According to the State Employment Security Department, the Wenatchee Metropolitan Statistical Area's local unemployment rate jumped. It was 5% in May of 2019. It was 14.3% in May of 2020. The local economy lost 6,600 non-farm jobs. That's down 14.2%, falling from 46,500 jobs in May of last year to 39,900 jobs in May of this year. Year over year, non-farm job growth rates in the Wenatchee MSA slipped by 0.2% in March 2020 before tumbling by 16.4% in April and 14.2% in May of this year. Not surprisingly, the hardest hit of all the major industries, leisure and hospitality. Unemployment there is between 40 and 50%. Of course, as you know by now, it's going to be far from a normal 4th of July at Wenatchee's Walla Walla Point Park on Saturday because of COVID-19 social distancing restrictions. The park will be closed this year for the fireworks show. Wenatchee Police Captain Edgar Reinfeld visited with me, and he said that means an early closure for the park on its traditionally busiest day of the year.
So park hours are normally 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. for all city parks, and then our PUD parks that touch the city. So Walla Walla Point Park, Riverfront Park, the Linden Tree area, all good examples of a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. park hours. So for 4th of July, the Walla Walla Point Park section, and I'm not exactly sure where we're going to cut it off yet, it's in conjunction with PUD Security and the PUD Parks Department, will be closed at 6 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. So at 6 p.m., PUD Park Security, in conjunction with 2 of our officers, will go through and basically clear out that section of the park. So that means parking lots will empty, all people who are in there walking around, the trail will close in that section during that period. So the easy detour for those who still want to use the trail recreationally from 6 to 10 p.m. will of course to be to leave the trail at 9th Street, go up to Walla Walla, go down to where they can pick it up again at Miller and Holly Street, and then pick it up at Holly Street and go out from there. But the park itself will be clear to people. And it is to avoid the huge social gathering. I mean, some years it seems close to 15,000 people packed in there. And of course, then we're densely packed getting everybody out. It's probably the time when we're most packed. I think being in the park itself, pretty easy to scatter. When you look at it most years, people tend to spread out pretty good and are set out there. But on leaving, boy, it packs up. And there's huge packs of hundreds of people trying to get out in close proximity to each other. So at 6 p.m., we'll shut it down. Fireworks show will occur right around 10 o'clock, probably shortly thereafter. It's about getting good full darkness before you set them off. And so a little bit after 10, the fireworks show will go, so the park would already normally be closed. And then after that's all done, at 6 o'clock the following morning, park's open again, normal business hours. So it shouldn't be too difficult except for clearing the mass of folks out. The PUD, conveniently, I noted, riding my bike the other day, has already got all the signage out advising people of the closure that's upcoming. Our request is on Saturday, 4th of July, wind down by 6 o'clock so when we come by and ask you to go, that we don't have to keep coming back and keep working our way through it. We have some time to get it cleared before the fireworks show is shot, so we have some time to work with, but there's no point in spending 4 hours chasing our tail and continuing to try to get the same people to get some compliance.
And again, my complete conversation with the good captain will air in the back half of this morning's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and that's what's making news at 20 minutes after the hour. We'll be back at it again with another newscast at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Eric Granstrom with the sports, and Grant Olson is the anchor. And with a preview of the news for tonight, here's the man himself.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, Pinnacles Prep, the first charter public school in the Wenatchee Valley, has been approved to open its doors in the fall of 2021. We'll tell you more about that. I'll have a sneak peek at your North Central Washington weather forecast for the upcoming 4th of July weekend, and Eric Granstrom will take a look at sports. That and all the day's news coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. We appreciate it. We also appreciate feedback from you. You want to drop us a note, just say hi, or got a news tip, something that you think warrants our attention. We try to give you all the tools in the toolbox. You can email us, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. You can go to our Facebook page and use the Facebook Messenger part of that little baby and drop us a note there, or you can go to our website. I highly recommend that you bookmark it because we populate it all the time. And at the top of our website, ncwlife.com, you see the icon for Contact Us. Click on it. Send us a note. We'd love to hear from you. 21 minutes after the hour when we come back, we're talking Apple Sox baseball, not going to happen. Mariner baseball, which is going to happen. Also an update on NFL training camps. And we're going fishing as well. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
At Earthwise Pet, we take an all-natural approach to wellness and nutrition. Our professional certified groomers were trained by the best in the Pacific Northwest. Our staff here at Earthwise Pet are all certified in pet nutrition. We are here to help you select the perfect food, supplement, and anything else you may need to make sure your pet is living its best and most healthy life. Earthwise Pet, Nutrition Center and Wellness Spa. Online or in the store, we are here for you.
Almost 23 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. Sorry, folks. No surprise there, but the Wenatchee Apple Sox officially announcing yesterday there will be no baseball. Yeah, it's kind of sad, obviously. It's very sad for us baseball fans. In a message on his website, owner Jose Oglesby announced the cancellation. He said, and I'm quoting now, "To our fans, sponsors, community members, host families, and employees, we thank you for your support as we navigate these unprecedented times together. After much deliberation between our front office and coaching staff and careful analysis of all the facts available, the Wenatchee Apple Sox are canceling the 2020 Apple Sox training camp." End quote. As with the rest of the West Coast League, the Apple Sox hope to be playing baseball in the summer of 2021. The Mariners restart training camp today at T-Mobile Park in Seattle amid the coronavirus pandemic. The organization, of course, has taken rather extraordinary steps to provide coaches and players the pristine environment that's required so they can work out and get that shortened season going. A season that the Mariners feel they may have a real chance to make the playoffs for the first time since 2001.
So for the past 3 months, we've been preparing, getting ready for a return to baseball here at T-Mobile Park, looking at every aspect of the operation from access to the building, testing of our staff and players, cleanliness, housekeeping. Again, we want baseball back, but we want everyone to be safe and healthy here inside the ballpark.
I think it's going to be exciting. This is going to be like speed dating baseball. It's going to be a 60-game sprint to the finish. We're going to have a large group of players. You're going to see some young, new players. Really excited to see Evan White at first base. Might get a glimpse of some of that young talent like Julio Rodriguez and Jared Kelenic. It's going to be exciting. The rules are going to be different. We're going to have, if we are tied after 9 innings, we're going to have a runner on second. We're going to have all kinds of opportunities to see position players hit when we're on the road because pitchers don't have to hit in National League parks, finally. I'm excited about it. I think every Mariners fan should be excited about it.
Seattle Mariners General Manager Jerry DiPoto says it's a little unnerving that they don't have a schedule yet, but baseball is doing what it can to protect the health and safety of its players and coaches.
It's all moving quite quickly, and there are many things that we still don't quite have all the answers in place for, but for the most part, the excitement of having the players back and getting the game moving again is certainly creating a new energy, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to start July 23rd or 4th, and it will wrap on September 27th. We'll play a 60-game schedule, and the goal here in operating solely in the West is just to minimize travel, try to promote safety to the extent that we can by not moving the players around as frequently as the normal schedule requires.
Well, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has led to lots of speculation on potential changes to the start of training camp. The NFL announced Monday via a tweet that camp will begin as scheduled on July 28th, and as usual, rookies can report earlier. Now, while the Seahawks had rookies report with the rest of the team for 9 seasons, under Coach Pete Carroll and John Schneider, rookies reported a week early last year. Carroll said last year that the early start for rookies was, quote, to give them a runway to prepare for camp. We feel like if we can make sure they're physically ready after the 6-week break, that we can have a better shot of making them physically prepared for the workload they're going to get in camp. So they're going to do it again for the 2nd year in a row. Talk about a fishtail. Jeff Witowski is a fishing guide on Lake Chelan with Daryl and Dad's Family Guide Service. This is from yesterday morning. Look at that. He's an 8-year-old kid. The kid weighs 55 pounds. The Mackinaw that he caught weighs 26.7 pounds. Look at that thing. That's cool. Jeff told us that Dad had to support the rod, but the youngster did every turn of the reel all by himself. Dad never touched the reel. It took him 15 minutes, not surprisingly, to land the Whopper, but wow, he got it done. Way to go, buddy. Speaking of fishing, a stretch of the Upper Columbia River opens for sockeye salmon fishing this morning. You can go right now. Below Wanapum, Rocky Reach, and Wells Dams are run the tape.
Double on sockeye. One's in the boat. Roscoe ran up from the bow and put the hook in the other one. Fast action here for sockeye. Wanapum Dam. Woo-hoo. God. Hey! Yep. See that? Now that's the way you do it. Easy peasy.
And just shake the hooks fall out just like that.
Yep.
Now, the popular spots for sockeye salmon, which, by the way, tastes really good. You want to go below Wanapum Dam, Rocky Reach Dam, Wells Dams, opening today on the stretch of the Columbia River from Priest Rapids Dam to below Wells Dam. Now, the limit is 2 sockeye per day. They have to be at least 12 inches long. Any other sockeye, you got to throw them back in to the Columbia River. And by the way, the Brewster Pool, which is also a hot spot, that is expected to open on July 16th. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 29 minutes after the hour. I had 4 obscure holidays to choose from. We're saving Canada Day for later because it's not really an obscure holiday. Today is National Ginger Snap Day. It's National Creative Ice Cream Flavors Day. You go to the ice cream section of the grocery store and you go, that's a flavor? It's National U.S. Postage Stamp Day, but in a related thing, we're actually going to go with National Postal Worker Day, always celebrated on July 1st. I don't know why. About 7.3 million people work for the United States Postal Service. A couple of fun facts about the Postal Service. If you are the postal carrier in Sydney, Montana, you put a lot of miles on your rig. The Sydney, Montana rural mail route is the longest one in the country. It is 190 miles round trip every day. That's a lot of time. Ever wonder how the United States Postal Service decodes really bad penmanship? They have experts. It's the Remote Encoding Center. It's in Salt Lake City. So if you send a letter or a package and you wrote by hand and they can't make out where the heck it's supposed to go, they have about 1,000 workers there, and it gets sent to Salt Lake City, and they can decipher it. They're so good at it, they can figure out what the handwriting means on average in about 5 seconds. That's pretty good. Do dogs attack postal carriers? You better believe they do. The latest statistic I got was 5,767 postal employees were attacked by dogs last year. Mail carriers are supposed to keep their satchels between their bodies and an aggressive dog, if it happens, so you use the mail sack as a buffer. But that's a lot of dog attacks. And not surprisingly, well, actually kind of surprisingly, the second biggest physical danger for the actual postal carrier delivering your mail is wasps. Wasps have a tendency to build nests inside mailboxes. That's not good. In 1940, half of all federal employees worked for the Postal Service. Today, 1 in 40 federal employees work for the Postal Service. Happy Postal Worker Day today, July 1st. Today in history, it is Canada Day. Happy 153rd birthday to Canada. That's the actual document. July 1st, 1867. Before that, there were provinces. Canada was a province, Nova Scotia was a province, New Brunswick was a province, and they were all brought in under one federation, effectively creating Canada as a sovereign nation, but still under British rule. And then gradually, as the years went by, those rules were eventually kind of shut off. And finally, believe it or not, Canada didn't become fully sovereign from Great Britain until 1982. That's a long divorce. That really is. Happy Canada Day. And by the way, if it wasn't such a strange year with everything going on, they celebrate Canada Day in Canada pretty much like we do Independence Day. They set off fireworks, they have picnics, they have entertainment. Well, not this year, but happy Canada Day today. 122 years ago today, the legend of Teddy Roosevelt was born. What the heck is that? Oh well, that's supposed to be a photograph of the Battle of San Juan Hill. It is. It just was really bad. The Battle of San Juan Hill during the Spanish-American War took place on this date in 1898. Teddy Roosevelt was posthumously awarded a Medal of Honor in 2001, even though he'd been dead for 80 years. But it made Teddy Roosevelt a household name, and he eventually, of course, hopped and leapt his way all the way to the presidency. By the way, the Americans had a lot more casualties than the Spanish did, and that really inspired the American military establishment to do something about their weapons. They were using weapons that were from the Civil War during the Spanish-American War in 1898. We won, by the way. July 1st, 1941, 79 years ago today. We've been following Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. The Yankees swept the Red Sox 7-2 in 92. The second game is called after 5 innings, but the important thing, Joe DiMaggio had 2 hits in the first game, 1 in the second game to tie Willie Keeler's Major League hitting streak of 44 games in a row. Joe DiMaggio tied Willie Keeler on this date 79 years ago today. You'll be hearing more about this. Happy 57th birthday to the zip code. We mentioned the Postal Service. The zip code came into being on this date in 1963. That's Mr. Zip. Hi, Mr. Zip. The zip code, which greatly simplified the computerization of letters. Zip codes were introduced for the United States for the very first time 57 years ago today. And today is the birthday of the Walkman. 41 years ago today, July 1st, 1979, Sony introduced the Walkman. Ran you about $500. No, ran you about $150 then. It's the equivalent of about $500 today. They were predicting, Sony, that they would sell about 5,000 Walkmans the first month they were out. In July of 1979, they sold 50,000 Walkmans. And by 1983, cassettes were now outselling vinyl records for the first time. And now things have changed. It's 41 years later. You can't even buy a cassette anymore, and people are buying vinyl records again. I had a Walkman. I had more than one. Wore mine right out. Happy birthday to the Walkman. Revolutionized the way we listen to music. And 40 years ago today, even though the song was written in 1880, it wasn't until 1980, on Canada Day, July 1st, 1980, that O Canada actually officially became the national anthem of Canada. I told you it took them a long time for them to get divorced from Great Britain. It took even longer for them to actually decide that Old Canada would be the national anthem. Happened on this date 40 years ago. 35 minutes after the hour, birthdays. Olivia de Havilland is 104 years old today, the last of Hollywood's golden age of actresses. She won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress. She will always be known as Melanie Hamilton in Gone with the Wind. She is the last surviving member of the crew of anybody even associated with Gone with the Wind. They have all since passed away, be it directors, producers, actors, actresses, crew members, it doesn't matter, they're all gone, with the exception of Olivia de Havilland, who is 104 years old today. Happy birthday to Klinger. Jamie Varr, 86 years old today, will always be known as the cross-dressing Klinger. Maxwell Q. Klinger on MASH for all 11 seasons. He's 86 years old today, and he and Alan Alda were the only 2 members of the cast that were actually in the U.S. Army and actually served in Korea. This was after the Korean War. They were served there. Jamie Farr, 86 years old today. Darth Vader is 85. That's David Prowse. He, of course, is completely retired. He wasn't the voice of Darth Vader. Of course, that was James Earl Jones, but David Prowse, who wore the Darth Vader suit, because he was a big, strapping, handsome guy. Completely retired from acting now. He's 85 years old today. One of my faves, Dan Aykroyd, 68 years old today. Of course, one of the original Not Ready for Primetime players on Saturday Night Live, the Blues Brothers, Trading Places with Eddie Murray, Ghostbusters, and of course an Academy Award nominee for Driving Miss Daisy. Talented musician, screenwriter, director, Dan Aykroyd, 68 years old today. The man who was voted the World Athlete of the Century by the International Association of Athletics, Carl Lewis, 59 years old today. Sportsman of the Century by the International Olympic Committee and Olympian of the Century by Sports Illustrated. He's got a bunch of medals. Carl Lewis is 59 years old today, and Diana, the Princess of Wales, would have been 59 years old today. Of course, died in that car crash in 1997 at the age of 36. She was born in the state in 1961. Got a brand new opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty coming your way. Then my conversation with Captain Edgar Reinfeld of the Wenatchee Police Department. Law enforcement and Independence Day weekend will be the topic when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise.
Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well-versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set.
These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
Kindness makes a world of difference at Boswell's. Donate $50 or more to charity and save more than ever before on stressless seating. Save at least $300 on stressless recliners and office chairs. Plus save hundreds more with $200 off every sofa seat you buy. There's never been a better time to help others and fill your home with the unmatched comfort of stressless seating. Be kind and save generously at Boswell's.
This hasn't been easy for any of us, and we don't know all that lies ahead. But as local business owners, we can't wait to welcome you back. So as we reopen, we'll be wearing masks. We all have different opinions about them, but standing with your neighbor sometimes means standing in the uncomfortable. And you can stand with us by wearing a mask when you visit.
Why run all over town when you can get the financial services you need under one roof? The location is 521 Chelan Street right here in Wenatchee. Accounting solutions for success. Insurance from trusted choices. Real estate, the power of the edge. Personal, professional, preferable. It's all right here. Get the edge on your financial needs. Now available in Chelan as well. Get more information at augustedge.com.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, when I was a kid,
I used to read stories about people who had regrets. Now, these folks would reach middle age or later, and suddenly they'd say to themselves, is this all there is? Or something like, why didn't I do so-and-so or such and such? Basically, they'd be saying that they wasted their life, their one life. Now, this made me think. I never wanted to forget that this life, my life, is a one-way trip, and I didn't want to waste mine having regrets that I didn't measure up to much. So, how have I done? You tell me. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Owner Andrew Vickery brings years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spas, both new and used, as well as residential and commercial pool and spa services, regular maintenance and repairs, and all the chemicals required to keep your pool and spa crystal clear. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa today.
The Meat Shop in Chelan has all the meats, homemade side dishes, sauces, and rubs you need for a summer feast. The Meat Shop opens 6 days a week to serve you in downtown Chelan.
More than a health food store, it's your good food store. Bear Foods and Cafe Creperie, a feast for the eyes and the palate.
For the Chelan Valley's most unique tasting experience, visit One Wines, a true boutique winery producing only one white, one rosé, and one red with a rare exceptional vintage. Limited to 800 cases per year. Visit One Wines today.
Atención, su colaboración es muy importante para usted y su familia. El coronavirus o COVID-19 no va a desaparecer en el futuro inmediato. Con su colaboración podemos crear un plan de acción para abrir la economía otra vez de manera segura con la información de este estudio de 250 pruebas médicas. Su participación es muy importante para que todos en la comunidad estemos representados con la información crítica para abrir nuestro distrito comercial a todos, protegiéndonos del riesgo de un futuro cierre económico. Las pruebas son voluntarias y los resultados son gratis y completamente confidenciales. Busquen su buzón de correo en casa para obtener más información sobre cómo puede ayudarnos en comunidad a reabrir de manera segura. Estamos aquí para apoyarnos mutuamente. Gracias por su colaboración.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue.
Currently, Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is open for dine-in and take-out. Owner Justin Hefner and his staff are just as excited as you to get back to their regularly scheduled full menu, music, and poker, so stay tuned. Meanwhile, Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is serving a limited menu for lunch and dinner, dine-in or take-out.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. This Saturday, Independence Day, the U.S. of A. turns 244 years old, and as usual, we all gather and have a little wing-ding, be it private or public or whatever. Of course, the Let's Have a Blast 4th of July committee had to make a few adjustments, as you well know by now. We're not having a big gathering at Walla Walla Point Park, and that has led to, well, how's law enforcement going to handle not only Walla Walla Point Park on Saturday afternoon, but really the Independence Day holiday as a whole? And to talk about that is our good friend, the Administrative Bureau Commander of the Wenatchee Police Department. He's back again. He's Captain Edgar Reinfeld.
Morning.
Good to see you, Captain. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Let's get right to the beans and the bacon here. They made the decision a couple of months ago, obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic, gathering a bunch of people. It's usually a few thousand people, to say the least, at Walla Walla Point Park. Not going to work this year. So there is going to be some folks at the park to a certain extent. Then they have to kind of get themselves out of there. Explain how Walla Walla Point Park will work for those people who at least want to hang around there a little bit on Saturday the 4th. How's this going to happen?
So park hours are normally 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. for all city parks, and then our PUD parks that touch the city. So Walla Walla Point Park, Riverfront Park, the Linden Tree area, all good examples of a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. park hours. So for 4th of July, the Walla Walla Point Park section, and I'm not exactly sure where we're going to cut it off yet, it's in conjunction with PUD Security and the PUD Parks Department, will be closed at 6 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. So at 6 p.m., PUD Park Security, in conjunction with two of our officers, we'll go through and basically clear out that section of the park. So that means parking lots will empty, all people who are in there walking around, the trail will close in that section during that period. So the easy detour for those who still want to use the trail recreationally from 6 to 10 p.m. will of course to leave the trail at 9th Street, go up to Walla Walla, go down to where they can pick it up again at Miller and Hawley Street, and then pick it up at Hawley Street and go out from there. But the park itself will be clear to people. And it is to avoid the huge social gathering. I mean, some years it seems close to 15,000 people packed in there. And of course, then we're densely packed getting everybody out. It's probably the time where we're most packed. I think being in the park itself, pretty easy to scatter. When you look at it most years, people tend to spread out pretty good and are set out there. But on leaving, boy, it packs up. And there's huge packs of hundreds of people trying to get out in close proximity to each other. So at 6 p.m., we'll shut it down. Fireworks show will occur right around 10 o'clock, probably shortly thereafter. It's about getting good full darkness before you set them off. And so a little bit after 10, the fireworks show will go, so the park would already normally be closed. And then after that's all done, at 6 o'clock the following morning, park's open again, normal business hours. So it shouldn't be too difficult except for clearing the mass of folks out. The PUD, conveniently, I noted, riding my bike the other day, has already got all the signage out advising people of the closure that's upcoming. Our request is on Saturday, 4th of July, wind down by 6 o'clock so when we come by and ask you to go, that we don't have to keep coming back and keep working our way through it. We have some time to get it cleared before the fireworks show is shot, so we have some time to work with, but there's no point in spending 4 hours chasing our tail and continuing to try to get the same people to get some compliance.
My understanding is the parking lot at Walla Walla Point Park, the park will be open, as you mentioned, until 6 at the Walla Walla Point Park, which is a PUD, Chelan County PUD jurisdictional as far as they're the ones who run the park. They own it. But the parking lot itself at Walla Walla Point Park will be closed on Saturday, or will it be open until 6 o'clock?
It's my understanding it's going to be open until 6 p.m. and then we'll close it again. We'll just push everybody out at 6. There were a lot of discussions in setup between a variety of community partners, the Independence Day Committee, the actual company shooting the fireworks, it's the same folks who shoot it every year. They do a great job. Us, the PUD parks, PUD security, other PUD interested parties into how we do this. There was discussion of close the park at 6 a.m., just don't open on 4th of July. Well, that takes away a great resource and swim area and all that stuff all day. There was another discussion about close the park but leave the trail open. You've effectively left the park open because people flood the trail every year anyway. They come from 9th Street, they come from north, they park and they walk in. So it really wouldn't change anything. So we're just going with the total closure in that bubble of Walla Walla. And again, it's to prevent that big accumulation of people. We've obviously had some new wrinkles, including these things all over our faces in the last week, that kind of make it easier to deal with the state, with Labor and Industries, with the governor's office, with the health district, with all sorts of folks by just knocking down the gathering in the park. It will be a high show this year. Everything will be shot way up, so vantage points all around the valley should be able to see more of the show that they have over the last several years, actually pushed really close down to the ground to make viewing in the park better, because there's all this stuff happening in front of you and then pushing up, all this vertical space to work with. So instead of the stuff close to the water this year, a lot higher.
And there's actually good news for your department in that from a personnel standpoint, in years past, if you've been down to Walla Walla Point Park, the show was over at 10:30 and everybody leaves, and you have to do traffic control. You close down all these intersections, the traffic lights are no longer operational, and you have your people out there directing traffic all the way down to 9th Street, all the way out to by Save Mart. That's something you really don't have to worry about now.
Right, and so we hire off-duty employment. The 4th of July Committee hires off-duty employment. Let's have a blast committee. Hires off-duty employment to help clear the park, but again, the traffic control problem expands. Walla Walla Point Park is the ideal environment to have a big fireworks show and have all the people in that. You have the spit they can work from and close a minimal section of the park. The safety barriers, because of the spit, allow people to get really close to the water. You can get close to the show without being close to the show until it's time to leave, and then it's a disaster. And so not having that this year reduces one burden, but will create other new ones. So,
such as?
Well, we're going to be pushing all the celebration out to everywhere, where it's kind of coalesced in recent years mostly to Walla Walla Point Park. I remember back around 2014, 2013, just chaos with a lot of legal and a lot of illegal fireworks all throughout neighborhoods. And a lot of them are illegal because they're dangerous in and of themselves. And it's not about losing fingers, happens, damaging eyes happens. To me, the thing that always bothered me working 4th of July nights, it seemed like I've worked almost every one of them in my career, is driving through a neighborhood and watching one knucklehead fire aerial fireworks through their neighbor's trees, skipping them off their house, all that. There's amateur hour is bad when fire is involved. And it's definitely been a lot of that for a long, long time. So we've seen that kind of reduce. We expect that to be back very big this year, despite the fact you have to drive quite a ways to buy any. We're already having fireworks complaints every night lately. And it's already started and it'll continue.
And how do you handle those complaints? Because everybody knows, and we don't want to gild the obvious, Lily, in the city of Wenatchee, setting off fireworks of any kind is illegal, has been for the last couple of years. Simply can't do it. You guys have more important things to do than on Saturday night. It's a summer Saturday night, it's a holiday. You're going to be busy enough as it is. The last thing you want to do is have to drive around neighborhood to neighborhood and say, knock it off.
And that's the primary outcome, is driving around the neighborhood saying, knock it off. Don't do that. Stop doing something dangerous. Some of the last years before fireworks kind of fell out of favor, after the 2015 fire, people kind of got it and went, hey, let's take a step back. 2016, the ban went in place. People took another big step back. And so we've really seen minimal activity in recent years. With this year being so different, we expect to see a lot of activity again. We'll go around where enforcement action is appropriate or necessary based on behavior. We can take some enforcement action. It's primarily fines now. It used to be a criminal citation. You're going to go appear before a judge, but your first offense will be a fine this year. I would not be surprised to see some handed out. And we will have to set up our whatever fireworks bunker collection point. We usually work in conjunction with Chelan County Fire District 1 and collect. I think it was 2014, I alone collected like 300 pounds of illegal fireworks in 3 hours.
Wow.
Well, by the time people start setting off their own show, you drive up there, there's boxes and boxes and boxes. I mean, I just kept filling part of my car, drive down, drop them off, go back out, pick it up again. We don't usually write many tickets or any of that for fireworks use. I don't expect it to change because it will just be too busy. We won't necessarily have the time to take the enforcement action. However, somebody being really dangerous, shooting aerials into their neighbors, lots of alcohol on board and throwing fireworks at each other, somebody is probably going to end up getting some enforcement action taken. But the biggest part of it is just trying to keep people from burning their neighborhoods down, keep fires out of the hills so that we don't burn back to neighborhoods like we've tragically seen here, and just keep people from hurting themselves or each other.
Fireworks, again, for actually all of Chelan County, including the city of Wenatchee, is banned, period. Doesn't matter if it's safe and sane or not. You can't set them off. Can you buy them in the city of Wenatchee? Is that legal? Do you know?
No, there's no sales of fireworks in the city of Wenatchee at all. It's funny because I was driving past Valley North Mall the other day, and there's one of those great big tents. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You can't, oh, it's hot tubs. So it's hot tubs.
Yeah.
Like, that is a very large fireworks stand. What is going on? No, it's hot tubs. So kind of the opposite.
But it is legal in the city of East Wenatchee. And so a couple of days before the 4th of July, you're going to go around to the legal fireworks stands and say, how many have you sold? Is business up? Do we need to keep an eye on these kinds of things? Or
we haven't, because we can't control any part of it. East Wenatchee is still going to allow discharge, still going to allow sale. That's their business. Now they come across the river and hopefully don't cause any real issues here. But we know we'll see fireworks discharge. We know we'll see people with them. And it is especially complicating when 600 yards away you can go legally buy at least a safe and sane fireworks and discharge them there.
While I have you here, Captain Reinfeld from the Wenatchee Police Department, anything else Independence Day related from a law enforcement perspective that you want to stress to my viewers out there?
You know, it's an appeal that I'll make. It's a 3-day weekend. It's going to be hot, though it may be a little bit windy. It may not be super hot like we saw last week. Please don't drink and drive. That's the big thing. We've seen some pretty horrific collisions in our 2 counties lately, including some fatalities, which thankfully we don't have a lot of. However, it's a different year. It's a weird year. We look like this. We're staying at home a lot. We're kind of starting to go travel around and party. We're not going to have an alcohol-free, or at least very limited alcohol, except for a beer garden, 15,000 person party. People are going to go to people's houses. Please have a designated driver. Please make good decisions, and please save us and yourselves all the time and effort of the DUI arrest, the fines, the court, the, God forbid, injuries or fatalities. Undoubtedly, we will not escape the weekend without a fatality on the water. Water safety, of course, is critical, or a traffic fatality. The odds are we will not escape the weekend without one somewhere in the 2 counties, and but we can all do our part to minimize our opportunity of being involved in one of those things.
The bottom line is the men in blue, Captain Reinfeld and his brethren, will be out in force, but the last people you want to see on Saturday the 4th are these guys. Exactly. That's the last people you want to see. Just, be smart. I know it sounds, I'm gilding the obvious lily, but be smart on the 4th of July, and let's get through this safely and have a good time.
Absolutely.
Good. Captain Edgar Reinfeld is the Administrative Bureau Commander of the Wenatchee Police Department. As usual, can you run these license plates for me, Captain?
Dan gets no favors.
I get no favors. Can I have a roll of that crime scene tape? I could have a lot of fun with that, Captain.
I think you can buy it on Amazon, and I think you can even get it custom printed with your own whatever statement on the yellow tape.
Okay.
I know that we can order it if we want our department name on it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to spend the money.
That's
just
true.
caution. Crime scene, do that, so.
Captain Edgar Reinfeld, who I hope on Saturday the 4th is the most bored man in North Central Washington. That is my personal wish to you, Captain.
Thank you, Dan.
I hope you got nothing going on Saturday night. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. We'll be right back.
At Town Toyota, we believe in our community, and we're proud to support this broadcast of local sports. Town Toyota defines reliability and value in both its products and in the dealership itself. We are home to legendary products like the RAV4, Highlander, and Camry, not to mention Tundras and Tacoma trucks. Of course, we offer service for everything we sell and a great selection of pre-owned and certified vehicles as well. So enjoy the game and visit Town Toyota for all your automotive needs.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
We're back live here from Studio 6 in downtown Wenatchee. Let's wrap up this program with the weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Once again, we still are dealing with breezy conditions. Just can't seem to shake out of this, but today should be the last day of the windy conditions. It's going to be sunny today for the most part, passing clouds. High of about 76. Again, breezy, a west wind about 10 to 15 miles an hour. It'll pick up to about 20 miles an hour this afternoon. Wind gusts near 30 miles an hour. The gradients are still pretty well packed with this low pressure system that's just dominating the weather, not just for us, but all over the western half of the United States. Tonight, a few clouds before it clears out. Again, a little breezy at times, 54 for the overnight low, and then we gradually turn the table. Thursday, sunshine, very little wind, high of 81. Friday, sunshine, very little wind, high of 85. For the Independence Day holiday, can't be much better than that. Couple of passing clouds, warm but not hot, no wind, high of 87 degrees. Sunday looking fine, 87 degrees with sunshine. So it's going to be sunny, it's going to be warm, not going to be hot. All in all, a great weekend weather forecast once we get there. Have a good Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.